Hi everyone, I'm Yenn. I'd like to open a window to my experience and demonstrate how you can change the world. I'd firstly like to say that on this planet there are 8 billion genders. Each and every one of us has our own unique and beautiful gender identity. For me, that's non-binary and Autigender. And Autigender is the concept of being autistic and gender divergent, and those things forming a core part of what makes you who you are. Research tells us that autistic folks are more than 7 times more likely than our neurotypical peers to be trans and gender divergent. I want to take you on an adventure and open a conversation to my Autigender world. Acceptance and love are essentials of life. Nobody should have to put up with bigotry or hatred because of their autism or their gender, not ever. Allies, and that's where many of you will come in. Allies are amazing in this space. A good ally demonstrates love, kindness, friendship, respect, support, and challenges bigotry and hatred wherever they find it. I came out as non-binary when I was 44 in 2018, and I was diagnosed as autistic when I was 20. Coming out as non-binary gave me new name, new pronouns, and new identity. I was a new person, but still the same person. Coming out was an absolute liberation. I felt like dancing down the street every single day for at least 6 months, and I wanted to tell everyone about my gender. And actually, Autigender is a cause for joy and celebration, and not just for me. It's a cause for joy because it's about embracing who you are and being proud in your identity, which are lovely things. I see autism in a similar way. I don't see autism as a deficit or a disaster or a tragedy. I see it as a difference. I see it as like a different culture. So autistic folks have a different language, different customs, different identity, different history. I often feel like an autistic expatriate in the land of neurotypical, a stranger in a strange land, if you will. And Autigender slots into that really neatly. I see Autigender as being like a state within the nation of autism. So Autigender is a really lovely, positive thing, but sadly, not everyone agrees with me on that. There are people in this world who would hate me and people like me simply because we exist. Now, I'm going to talk today mostly about transphobic bigotry, but autistic folks also face ableist bigotry for being autistic. So, hatred can take many forms. It can involve intentional misgendering, so using the wrong pronoun, intentional dead naming, so using the wrong name, verbal abuse, exclusion, invalidation, and even physical violence. I've experienced a range of bigotry and hatred over the years, ranging from amusing microaggressions to out-and-out hatred. I will share a couple of the microaggressions because they're really funny. So the first one was the person who, in all seriousness, said to me, "You can't wear a skirt if you're non-binary." And I said, "Well, does that mean I can't wear pants either because they're gendered male? And if that's the case, well, no undies for me. They're very gendered." So Yenn's just going nude, are they? No one wants that, least of all me. The other one was the fellow on Facebook. Now, I have a very big Facebook following. It's about a suburb, lots of people. And one of them, they're not all good, one of them said, "This page is about autism, not gender." And I responded with, "It's my page, I will post on it whatever I like. I will post about Spider-Man if I want to." The other one that got me is the invalidations. So the people who treat you like you or your identity don't exist. So I had somebody, immediately after I came out to them, they said, "Oh no, but you're a real girl." It's like, no, that's the whole point, is that I'm not a real girl, I'm non-binary. The other one is hatred, out-and-out hatred. I had somebody who I thought was a friend message me out of the blue, and they said, "I will not use your pronouns because she is the cat's mother. And Mr. Kitty, which is my beautiful black cat that passed away, Mr. Kitty died from a broken heart because of you." Yeah, nice one. The other one is your common or garden internet troll. These folks are everywhere. When I first came out, I posted some video diaries on YouTube because I was so excited about my new identity. The first 2, really well received. Everyone loved them. It was a really nice thing. Lots of positive comments, likes, all of that. So I posted a 3rd, expecting a similar response. But no, this one was met with so much bigotry. It was almost as if every troll on the internet had descended upon my YouTube. Now, the thing is, I know this. This is not something I wonder about or speculate about. I know that when the video of this talk is uploaded to YouTube, it will face bigotry and hatred. I will face bigotry and hatred. TEDxCanberra will face bigotry and hatred. It's not okay. The hatred is not okay. It hurts. It makes me sad. And it's dangerous. So when I was researching for this talk, I kept coming up with a similar statistic, and it was really upsetting me. And the statistic was, and this is across many studies, the statistic was that 40% of transgender folks have attempted suicide. That is not okay. And cisgender folks need to be aware of this. So what is cisgender, you ask? Cisgender basically means not transgender. Somebody who identifies with a gender they were assigned at birth. And cis is a Latin word that basically means on the same side as. So cisgender folks in the audience, I want you to imagine something. You've come up to me and you've said, "Oh, Yenn, I'm really excited, I'm a man." And I say, "A man? Is that even a thing now? A man?" Oh, you know what that is? That's woke nonsense. That is political correctness gone mad. That's a sin, isn't it? Isn't that in the Bible that you're not meant to do that? It's not natural. You know what? It's a phase. You're confused. You'll get over it. You know what it is? Those militant cisgender lobbyists are coercing you into being something you're not. They have a sinister agenda. Could you imagine that if someone said those things about your gender, something as deeply held as your actual gender? But for transgender folks, that happens every day. So despite the hatred, my autism and my gender are my favourite bits of who I am. I want a better world. I do. I want a world free from hatred. I want a world where people don't have to pretend to be something they're not, to mask or to be in a closet. A world where people are comfortable with their autism and their gender identity, where hatred is a thing of the past and acceptance is the norm. And I've seen things in my own life that demonstrate that such a world is attainable. The first one relates to baked goods. So my parents are extremely lovely people. They're actually here today in the audience, so give them a little round of applause. There we go. Yes, lovely, lovely. So my parents are beautiful and the best parents you could hope for. However, they are theologically conservative Christians. So you will understand that when I came out to them, I was more than a little bit anxious. Shortly after I came out to my parents, I went and visited them because they live in Victoria. And my mum says, "Yenn, I've got something I think you'll really like." And she goes into the kitchen and brings out a loaf of rainbow bread. I'm not talking fairy bread. I'm talking bread that's rainbow from the whole thing. And I was delighted. Well, of course I was. It's rainbow bread. Who wouldn't be? But what I really loved was what it meant, because it demonstrated a deep level of acceptance and understanding, and that was beautiful. And if all the Christians in the world were like my parents, I tell you what, sign me up. I'm going to church, weird rituals and boring sermons notwithstanding. So all this religion got me having an epiphany. I love a good epiphany. This epiphany was about the concept of cisgender. So cis means on the same side as. So I thought about that. And I thought, well, if that's the case, surely the cisgender folks could be on the same side as the transgender folks. Wouldn't that be lovely? Could you imagine that? 8 billion of us all standing on the same side as one another in allyship and friendship. That would go a long way towards the better world that I want. Now, before I finish up, I want to do an exercise with you, okay? So I want you to imagine you're Autigender. If you are Autigender, you don't need to, but if you're not, and I suspect that most of you probably are not, then if you could just imagine you are. Now you're looking for a new friend, and so you're making a list of attributes that you want in a new friend. So what do you reckon you're going to pick? I reckon you'd probably want a transgender one. That sort of makes sense, doesn't it? You'd probably want an autistic one or someone who's otherwise neurodivergent. And I reckon you probably want someone of marginalised sexuality, so asexual, bisexual, lesbian, gay, whatever. And you probably don't want a Christian, given the history there. Okay, so imagine you make a friend. I'm going to give your friend a name. We're going to call your friend Lisbeth, okay? Remember that, Lisbeth. Now, Lisbeth, you think you might have made a mistake because Lisbeth doesn't tick any of the boxes in your list. Lisbeth is cisgender, heterosexual, neurotypical Christian. Have you made a big mistake, I ask? Well, actually, you haven't, because Lisbeth, if we imagine this, Lisbeth is an amazing ally and friend, and Lisbeth never misgenders you, never dead names you, and if anyone does, she pulls them up on it. She is a close friend like no other. She's incredible. Sounds a bit far-fetched though, doesn't it? I'm being a bit silly. Jensky's being a bit silly. But bear with me. I want you to imagine that Lisbeth's in this audience. Maybe Lisbeth's the person up the back in the white. Maybe Lisbeth's the person on the front row there with the blonde hair. Maybe Lisbeth's sitting next to you. You know what? Maybe you're Lisbeth. But it's all hypothetical. It's just silliness, isn't it? This person couldn't exist. Well, I've been a bit leading you down the garden path, a little bit misleading. I've been telling fibs. I'm autistic. We're not supposed to do that, but I have been. Because Lisbeth is not a figment of our collective imaginations. She is not someone I invented to prove a point. Lisbeth is a real human being, and she is in the audience today. And I'm not going to point her out because I think I've probably embarrassed her enough. But Lisbeth demonstrates that we can all be effective allies and we can all make a difference. And for you, the thing I'll leave you with is the idea is I'm an expatriate in your country. Please be an explorer in mine. Lisbeth demonstrates that idea of an explorer in my country, my nation of Autigender. And you can all do that. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening to my talk. I hope you liked it. I've really enjoyed giving it. It was quite a highlight. But thank you as well, because I know when you leave here today, you will take what I say with you and you will want to be on the same side as Autigender folks, and you will start that journey and it will be a lovely thing. So thank you.